Language, it's beautiful, it's glorious. It's a way that we share ideas with others, but it does not encapsulate all of our thinking. In fact, first we have a thought and then we label it with a word so we can tell someone else about it. Language is for communication, for sharing, but you can have thoughts without any type of language attached to it, like dreams. People, you think that you have a dream and it's words, but then that's only when you look back at it, you start applying words to it because we've been taught to apply words to everything. But really, there are thoughts that happen that we don't even have words for yet. And when we need to realize that that's part of our consciousness, part of the consciousness of the whole, and start looking at the limiting effects of language. When you tell someone something, you communicate certain things to them, but not the whole of yourself, or not even the whole of that idea. And we think often that when we talk to somebody, if we've understood them, that we've understood everything. And that's rarely, if ever, the case. There is a lot more behind whatever someone is saying that we ever, and sometimes you have to have the same conversation over and over time until they can tell you more, you can understand more, and it grows because language is not in any way a perfect conduit from one mind to the other. It is a very imperfect conduit, and it's so beautiful and so glorious, and we've had so much fun with it that we've started to think of it as sort of a perfect mechanism. But there is so much room for expansion and greater understanding and a realization that thoughts are not connected to words, that words are simply applied to thoughts. And that's, we have all these different languages. Like every sound that I'm making is just an arbitrary sound, except we've learned over time to associate these sounds with certain ideas. And because of that, when I say them, people have their version of the idea. I say book, and I might have one book in my head, and they might have another book, but we get the idea a basic idea of book, but then it's still different. It's still imperfect. And then, I think Libra, is that Spanish for book? It's a totally different sound, but it's the same thing because the word is completely unimportant. All that's important is to have a placeholder to share the idea, but in no way does it encompass all of our thought process. And we can get lost sometimes and think that it does. And once we realize there's so much more there, we can start exploring the rest of ourselves.